Hello, in TF, we
We
judge. So sometimes silence really takes that heat off you and
Mm,
the listening party as well, or
yeah,
so the multiple parties in some cases.
yeah.
Yeah. So arguments getting heated, and maybe it's time to take a breath because when you add more dialogue to an already heated conversation,
It's
no one's
just
listening.
it's just adding oil to the fire. It just
Exactly.
keeps going boom.
Because humans get saturated quite
Oh
easily. Yeah,
yeah.
as much as we're conscious beings, it's
Yep.
not easy to really digest everything that's coming out. And
Yep.
plus, you're already heated, so things that come out may not sound as good or diplomatic
Yeah.
in ways,
Yeah.
right? So we want to establish that as judge of this
And
podcast.
also and also not everyone can control their
Emotions
anger
that,
and
yeah,
emotions as well. Like I can hold it. I like there are people who are like, oh, like you shouldn't put your anger out on people. You shouldn't lash your anger out. But then one thing they didn't realize is that I hold in my anger however much I can. The moment I lash out, it's really like the max already.
yeah,
It's really I cannot stand it anymore. And even then when I lash out, I still try to control. Like me lashing out is still a controlled form of my anger.
yeah,
So like you need to understand that. And a lot of times for me, even though there was like this saying by Mahatma Gandhi, he said,
yep.
don't go to bed without resolving your anger. But then I'm sorry, I'm the kind of person who will sleep my anger away. And then the next morning, I will just, not to say forget it, but then I just let it go eventually. It's like, okay, yesterday was yesterday's things and it's not going to affect me. So I'll just,
Honestly, that is the, I think that, me personally, that is the healthier way. You can't say I want to resolve something just because I want to.
yeah,
You can't resolve something and say, oh, I'm gonna resolve this until I sleep. Some things are not meant to be resolved by you or at that moment.
yeah, that
Yeah.
is true.
So I mean, we're all growing and understand that
Yeah.
holding in that anger isn't doing you
Yeah.
much good either. Though, hey, we're all growing,
Yeah.
we're all learning, and we know that things really get out of hand. Life is
Yeah.
really messy at
True.
times. And yeah, so
Also in the fact that not everyone can handle honesty as well.
in the same way or manner as well.
Yes,
Yeah, some people
exactly.
can handle the truth though in a more indirect manner as
Yeah.
well. Yeah,
So
yeah.
like if I were to directly tell you what I'm dissatisfied, can you handle it?
Yes.
That's the thing.
And that's very different from
Yeah,
everyone.
so
Yeah.
so a lot of times I would just tend to be like, calm down. Just let it pass. And then when I explode, they'll be like, oh, don't let show your anger. They'll be concerned, and I'll be like, just let me sleep this over, and we're done.
And that's fair and good. That's fair and
Yeah.
good. Yeah. So that's when it comes to family. Sometimes when things get heated, and so maybe I can give an example. Say
Mm,
during a seminar when you have the MC on stage talking, right?
yeah.
So it's all normal until the MC stops talking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then suddenly the MC goes quiet, and then that's when the audience actually puts full attention, especially if the MC was talking for maybe the first 10 minutes and then
Oh,
suddenly things go silent,
definitely.
right? Immediately, the audience will go, "What's wrong? What's the
Yeah.
matter?"
Yeah.
So
It's
that's
a it's a reflex.
it's a reflex. It's like a light reflex. When you look at the
Yeah.
eye, you blink.
Yeah.
It's the same
Like
thing when
a
you hear
normal thing.
silence, you react. Why is there silence?
Yep.
It's supposed to be a
Sounds
fun,
going
yeah,
on.
sound,
Yeah.
fun, loud environment.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing in natures of interaction.
Yeah.
So when someone is silent all of a sudden, you tend to take a step back as well. So as like a nature predatorial thing, if it's
Mm-hmm.
suddenly too silent, there might be signs of
Danger.
danger.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
So we are also putting that uh, mimicry of nature into our own survival,
Yeah.
right? Our
Yeah.
own uh, community social survival.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the same thing when it comes to heated interaction. So it's a really
Mm.
good way to say how do you reduce or diffuse the situation.
Mm.
It's not the same as telling you to run away from the situation.
Yes.
Don't be clear with that.
Yes.
We can talk about that with another topic
Yeah,
on itself.
definitely.
Though this is a good manner to help you establish your boundaries for
Yep.
one, because anyone who steps over your boundary unhealthily is not good, and we do not encourage that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be unintentional,
Mm.
given any situation, right? So sometimes silence and give yourself a time to breathe in,
Mm.
give yourself time to process how should I handle this better.
Yep.
And it also gives the opposite party some time to say, oh, I might have overstepped my boundaries, or
Yeah.
I might have gone a little bit too far. So
Yeah.
let me take this opportunity to apologize or to make amends as necessary.
Yep. I mean, like for example, if there are people who had who's upset, gotten hurt by me lashing out before, if you don't actually approach me and discuss the matter after like I've cooled down, I would take it as you are also accepting it in the same way. Like, okay, it's like in a heat of moment, and that's it. So
Right.
if you really feel like if you really feel hurt by me lashing out, then you have to tell me. Like after I cool down lah, of course.
Yes.
Like you have to tell me that, hey, like you remember back then that this happened and then you lashed out on me, and I felt hurt about it. Then I will tell you. Then I will
Yes.
explain. It means that you want a resolve as well.
Correct.
Like there's no point if it's just me wanting to resolve. That's the
Correct.
thing. So if you actually approach me, and somehow I'm the kind of person who's like, I'm someone who waits for the other party to step
To
forward
initiate
first.
it.
Yeah, to initiate it first before anything. Because for me, I forget it easily. I'm
Yeah.
someone who don't hold grudges. Like I don't hold a lot of grudges because I don't see the point of it. So yeah, if I do lash out and like you feel hurt, then tell me about it. I have no problem against it. I'll just be like, okay, and I'm sorry what happened, and then yeah, that is if I know you can take criticism, of course.
Such a philosophical saying.
I mean, bro, it's not your first day knowing me, right? So
Yeah, and that's a very important fact.
yeah,
And that's when we know when to talk.
exactly.
Yes, okay.
That is
So
when to.
so now we understand the dynamic of interaction in the sense of when not to talk.
Mhm.
Now we can talk more on when to talk. So
Yeah.
number one of when to talk is when someone oversteps your boundaries.
Yeah, definitely. You have to.
Human as a living being, we are very conscious animals,
Yep.
right? And we are so self-aware that sometimes even body language can affect us, and
Yeah.
that's when it's a good time to speak out, especially when it makes you very uncomfortable.
Mm.
Say someone shakes their leg a bit too often.
It's my pet peeve.
Yeah, it's a pet peeve for people.
Yeah.
So respectfully you can say, hey, maybe you can, I'm not very comfortable with someone shaking their legs, so maybe you could hold it in for me.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, it's cool. I
Or-
mean, I'm
also-
not stopping you from shaking your legs.
Yeah.
Entirely. Just
Like,
maybe.
give me some respect, like give me some space.
Yeah.
And in a way,
Yes.
I don't like it. So, can you like just at least for that short time where like in
I
the
really
same
appreciate
space,
it. And you gotta be really appreciative as well.
True.
And that's when
True.
you need to add the rapport, because
Mm.
you are also making a request from someone.
Yeah, definitely. Also, like sometimes in the lab,
Yeah.
how some people close uh, their cupboards
Yeah.
very loudly.
Yes.
They just let it bang.
Yeah.
And then like I'm someone who gets startled by loud
Yes.
noises a lot of times. So I will like tell them like dude, can you like close it softly?
Yeah.
But then of course sometimes people tend to forget, so I'll just be like try to remind. Yeah. I mean, you just need to voice out sometimes.
Yes.
You really do need to voice out.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. And voicing out comes back to the second rule of thumb that I said earlier. If it contributes to the conversation or it's important information, you say it. And your boundary is important.
Yeah.
Your boundary is important and everyone's boundary is equally as important. So that's when you need to say it and you work in a way. So other than boundaries, there's also workplace information, there's family schedules,
Yeah.
and there's many things that you also have to take into consideration, though we will just specify in the sense that when there is information that is important
Yeah.
enough that you need the other party to understand or to at least be aware of, that's when you speak of it.
Yeah, also I think an important factor that will play into this is also you need to understand whether uh, the person that you're talking to is okay with you voicing out. Some people you need to, how should I say, there are some people who are not comfortable with, or like not as open or accepting
Of this
of
information.
this information,
Right.
like the pet peeve thing where you shake your legs. Some people might be like, this is, there are some people who will be like, oh, it's nothing, they think of it lightly in a way. So
They brush it off.
yeah, they brush it off. So in a way, you have to look at the person that you're talking to as well. Not everyone is as
Forgiving.
or understanding.
Yes.
So yeah, back to body language again as well,
Yes,
and understanding.
So I think we can elaborate on that. That would be
Yeah.
helpful. So okay. So you are bound to meet this kind of people everywhere.
Definitely,
And so
yeah.
it doesn't we can't say like, oh, because they are this type of person, so I will never say it out loud.
Of
Or no.
course,
So
no.
you can ask yourself a few questions. So number one, how would this person react to my information
Yeah,
when I
number
speak
one.
out? That's
Yep.
number one. Number two, how will it trigger me, or how will their reaction affect me?
Yeah.
So that's one thing to understand. So if let's say you are already aware that person may be a bit more stubborn, and if you're okay with it, then hey, just go for it, right?
Yeah. True.
Then you also have the people where I struggle with working with stubborn people.
Yeah.
Right. Then that's when you might want to consider more of other factors. Then there's the third question to say, if their reaction affects me in a negative way, how would I handle it?
Yeah.
And it ties in with the fourth one. Can I seek for another person's help, or is there a third party that is tied to this situation that I can rely on? Because especially like workplaces, board
Yep.
meetings, organizations, you are unlikely to work with just one person.
Yeah.
You are working with a whole team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So if let's say I'm talking to Jenny over there, right? So Jenny is struggling with understanding my part of the deal.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I'm not very good with this. I'm struggling, say, right? I'm not very good with this deal breaking type thing. Okay. So is there a third party that I can go to that helps me with this kind of manner? So I could go to my boss.
Yeah.
I could go to a colleague of mine who is better in diffusing the situation. So that's another thing you can consider. Okay, so I can't do it by myself, and it's okay to ask for help.
Yep.
And this ties back again. So if I can look for this person, how do I tell them?
Yeah.
How will they react? Are they cool with it? And then
Yep.
it's that constant cycle, and this is maybe why adulthood is a little bit difficult, because there's
Yeah.
so much rule. It's not a rule per se, but the art of interacting and communicating is
so subjective.
it's very
And
subjective.
it's
Yes.
changing all the time. It differs from person to person. Also, in a way, sometimes you have to think about like how, like for certain things that, for me, sometimes, like I said, I will try to, if it's something that is not very triggering in a way, then I'll just like, okay, it's fine. Like how y'all sometimes come over and then you guys kind of like trash the place a bit.
Yeah.
But then I don't mind. For me, it's like once you guys leave, I'll definitely like clean the place. So for me, it's something okay.
Yeah.
But at the same time, sometimes like certain things, and I do voice it out.
Yep.
But then come on, at some point you guys can't change that easily, right?
Yep.
So you guys try, but then at the same time, I don't make it like an issue as well.
Yep.
So like you guys will sometimes be like, oh, do you want me to wipe this? Then I'll be like, okay, you can wipe it.
Yeah.
So like you wipe it, then it's done lah. That's it.
And you've been very clear with your dialogues and conversations.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
And it really makes the dynamic healthier.
I see.
Yeah.
I mean, also in a way where I complain about you dishwashing. Like my pet peeve.
Yeah,
is
I mean that's your
dishwashing.
personal pet peeve, and I respect that because you have a stronger tendency for cleaner dishes.
Yeah.
And it's not like I always fail your dish cleaning.
Yeah, just that sometimes. and then
Sometimes
after
it
that,
happens. Yeah. It's perfectly cool because
Yeah.
it's your house, your rules, your dishes, your soap. Hey,
Yeah.
you do what you need to do, buddy.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and alongside with that, we can talk a bit on compliments as well. And this is where we also need to put a good balance of when to speak of it
Yeah,
and when
yeah.
not to. So when it comes to compliments, so back to our first and second rule of thumb. What's our first rule?
When to not talk, or like when to let the silence. the
You're not-
when to not talk is like when
You're not paying attention. Anyways,
the silence
if it doesn't contribute,
yeah,
yes.
then you don't say anything.
No, that's number
Just-
2.
Wait, what?
Number 1, if that's not, you don't have anything nice, don't say it.
Oh, okay. I mean, the part of my brain is all shutting down in a way.
it's
So
cool. It's cool. Yeah. Just okay. So when you're trying to do a compliment, you'll go to the first rule. Is it nice? Is it something that's nice? And
Yeah.
sometimes, different people work different ways. So I can be
definitely.
sarcastic.
yeah,
I mean, like, yeah, cool hair, buddy. Like it could be a genuine compliment, right? So it really depends on how a person wants to take it. And so you gotta use your compliment in a way that the person immediately understands. Oh, that's a compliment. He's saying
Yeah.
a nice thing to me.
yeah,
And so if you know that, okay, regardless of how I say it, it's not gonna sound good, then maybe not. Maybe
Yeah.
that's not the best compliment to say.
yeah, true.
Yeah. And of course, occasionally maybe it sounds good in your head and it doesn't come out well, just immediately
There are
apologize.
definitely situations like that.
There are always situations, and it's cool. Just immediately apologize. You can say, "Hey, I'm not really proud of that." Either you can try again, or I'll take it back. I think most people are
Yeah.
cool enough with that,
Yeah,
because you know that hey, that doesn't sound right, and it's okay. It's perfectly cool.
I
and
mean, a lot of times an apology really does cools down
the
the
situation,
situation.
or it
very
doesn't even
fast.
start it to begin with,
Yeah,
because people already know, oh, it's a mistake. It's cool. It's fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
true.
And when it comes to compliments, then you gotta be genuine, of course.
Of course, that is
It
like
comes deep
that's
down.
like the most important point of compliments. Of course.
Of course, and I think it's good that we put it out there as well, because sometimes we may overlook the fact. Sometimes we just
Yeah,
blindly want to compliment someone,
yeah, exactly.
and then we can tie it back up with how do you react to the compliment, right?
Yep.
Other than thank you, honestly, there's not much of a better way. Thank you is your best way of
Yes.
accept it because you like it.
Yep.
Because let's say someone compliments your clothes. Oh no, I just got it out of the dryer, the dishwasher for whatever reason it is. You're as if telling someone you have very bad taste in my clothing, man. And that's
Yeah,
not very
true.
nice.
I mean, a lot. It depends on how close I am with the person as well. If like I'm very close with the person, then sometimes I'll just be like, like being a bit
But that's you.
defensive. I mean, it's with people that I'm really comfortable with, who I'm really close with. But then, like, if it's from like people that I'm not close with, I'll just be like, oh, okay, thank you. Like, I don't need you to know any TMI. Like, so I feel like sometimes it's down to the how close the relationship is as well.
That is fair.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a good rule of thumb that, in general, that a compliment usually comes from a nice place, and
Yeah.
hey, we love a good compliment every now and then, right?
Yeah.
So hey, thanks, I really love it. Or you can express like, oh really, I actually put a lot of effort in it. So
Yeah.
it really shows the appreciation, and the person say, hey, I kind of made this person feel a little bit happier.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
Yeah.
And everyone gets a nice fun time out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so you are both satisfying the two rules of you got something nice to say when you
Mhm.
are replying, and also that you are contributing to the conversation, because sometimes compliments can lead to more conversations.
Yeah, definitely. Then you will lead to like, oh, the I'll be like, oh, thanks, I got it from where,
Yeah,
and then
yes.
you'll be like, it just naturally leads to a conversation.
Yes, and it builds so much good rapport, and you would be surprised with the
Yeah.
limitless amount of opportunities you
Yes.
get afterwards.
Yes.
Anyhow, we'll then discuss more interesting topics like dynamic of mimicry,
Mm-hmm.
when you should actually apologize, how do you greet someone as your first impression, right? Okay, how to ask for help.
Yeah.
I think that one's I think I will look forward to that one, because that's something I struggled with personally as
Oh,
well.
definitely same.
Yeah. And how to flirt.
We leave that for the last one.
Hey, when done wrong, it's pretty creepy.
Oh, yeah, I have to agree with that one. That is actually true. Spoken from experience.
Anyway, in TF, we
We
judge.
judge.